Kaijus, what's up? It's your boy Kaiju Kong, aka 2K, emerging from the depths of solitude to bring you some more Sigma soul sustenance. Alright guys, today's video is brought to you by a suggestion, actually a question, given to me through Instagram by a fellow subscriber named Tim. And Tim said, "Hey brother, how have you been? I have a video suggestion for you if you haven't already made it. I would love to learn how to network better as a Sigma male. I personally love working by myself. I'm a lone wolf to a fault, which I believe is hurting me in some areas of business. Even though my business is fairly successful as a resume writer and consultant, I know you can be more successful if I collaborate and connect to the right people for more exposure. I would love to get your insights on the subject because you are the man. Keep up the good work, Tim." Thank you very much for that suggestion and for asking me the question, reaching out to me. Let me break this down. How to network better as a Sigma male, or no, notably, how to network better as a introvert. Step 1. Guys, if you need advice on how to write a resume, or if you want step-by-step guidance on writing your resume or CV in order to get the job that you want, to get that promotion or to get the position that you want, and also general career advice or tips on how to conquer that interview, then do contact and don't hesitate to get in touch with Tim, whose details are in the description below. See Tim, by contacting me, you just did step 1. You contact someone or get in touch with someone and build a relationship with someone who will be willing to broadcast the message that you want to instill and to get your message out there in general. Step 1, you've already done it. Now, introvert and networking kinda does not connect, especially in the way things were done in the past when there was no internet. The way you had to network was actually face-to-face. You had to go to expos, you had to go to forums, you had to go through actual events where there are those stalls set up, multiple stalls, and hundreds of people were there handing out business cards, handing out flyers, talking to each other. And frankly, even the thought of it makes me cringe and makes me feel like I'm shrinking. I may look like I'm loud or outspoken in my videos, but if you know me in person, I'm actually pretty reserved. I'm actually very collected, calm, and not very talkative. But yeah, that was the old way things were done. But the way things are done now, introverts literally have no excuses. Why? Because there is technology, there's internet, there is social media. You can literally send out your message from the comfort of your home without even having to look at the person face to face and talking to them and sending them messages. Me as an introvert, I used to communicate largely through email, through DMs, through indirect means without having to see the person face to face. And that is the way I set up a good impression. I used very good language, I was very polite, and I got connections through this without having to even speak a word, even on the phone. So in this day and age when there's technology, social media, and all these indirect sources of communication, us introverts, we're literally the kings of communication. We can move the world just from the comforts of our own home without having to actually speak a word or look at a person face to face. But let us backtrack a little bit and not talk about technology, but talk about face-to-face interaction. The thing that I notice in my life in terms of networking and successful networking is that the most successful interactions, and by successful, I mean the interactions where you get the most value from, were actually interactions that were based on one-on-one or interactions that took place in small groups. I did not get any results from having to go to expos, I didn't have any results from going to forums, but I got the most value from one-on-one conversations and conversations in small groups, like 3 or 4 people maximum. And the thing is, for introverts, one-on-one conversations or conversations in 3 or 4 are kind of pushing it, but it is not as difficult for us. It is low pressure. And understanding that this is like the 20-80 principle, the Pareto principle, that 20% of the things that you do actually gives you 80% of the results and 80% of the value to you. It is true in communication. 20% of the people that you communicate with, actually, because you've done it one-on-one, very meaningful, very genuine, these are the ones that you're able to develop relationships with. And actually, if you do not get business with them or you do not get what you want out of them, they will be willing to introduce you to someone who will, or broadcast your message to someone who will want your services. And I know this doesn't go for everybody, but I just wanted to put this out there to make sure that I help even those who have this problem. Those of you who don't like networking because you feel that you're being judged by people, you feel like people will not like you or will treat you badly, guys, don't worry. As you age, when you are younger, when I was in high school or in school, I noticed that kids, as I grew up, I noticed that kids back then, when I was young, when we were all younger, when we were kids, when you're in the playground, when you're in high school, people generally are kind of meaner. They're kind of more judgmental. But as you age, and even my parents told me this, I didn't want to believe it for a fact, but now that I'm grown and I see how things are, how social interactions work, it is true. As you age, as we all age, even the school bully will kind of mellow down because life beats us all down. Life makes us all more humble, makes us less judgmental. In general, this applies for most people. There are those 5% people that always stay, assholes. But as in general, most people, they become nicer with age. They become less judgmental. And if you do screw up or make mistakes in your interactions with them, they're more willing to give you a pass on that one. They're more willing to forgive you because they know that people are not perfect. As you age, especially past the age of 25, and you realize that there's no use to judging people based on what they wear, the language, the race, creed, whatever, you're naturally more open to making friends with a wide variety of people. So those of you who are scared of being judged or scared of what others may think about you, or scared of making friends because they might not want to be friends with you, don't worry. As you age, people do get nicer. So get that fear out of your head. That's important to put out there. And this leads me up to what I see majority of introverts having. And especially this plays a part in the Sigma male particularly. Sigma males, we are rare. We think out of the box. We are different. Therefore, we are not majority. And what do majority do in terms of networking, in terms of socialization? They put out a face where they always want something. It is very clear that when you network with someone, they want something from you. As a Sigma male, you have to recognize that, and you have to go out of the box, think out of the box and go against the grain. Instead of going into interactions thinking, what can I get out of this? Can I get something out of this guy? You go through it and say, what can I give them? Or what can I give you? Give them value first before you ask. Or you just keep giving them value like Gary Vaynerchuk. And the value just comes right back at him without him having to explicitly ask for it. This is the power of the introvert. Introverts, we're good at listening. We're good at taking in energy. Unlike extroverts, they always want to blah, 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 talk. The other person is not being heard. But if the other person can talk and you're good at listening, this is rare. When they talk and you listen and you actually understand and empathize with them, without you even talking, they feel that they are heard, they recognize you, and they feel that you're a very good communicator, ironically, without you having even said a word. Networking is all about connections. And what is connection? Connection is connecting 2 points. And if a person understands and knows that you're listening to him and agreeing to what he says and you're on the same platform, you're basically connecting. The thing is, with extroverts, they talk, and the other person talks. It's like, it's hard for the connection to establish, but if there's one-way communication where the person talks and you just listen and you empathize and you say, yes, I understand, I agree, and then you offer your own feedback, but putting it on the same level, you're connecting already right there. Another way you can stand out is by making sure that the person you want to connect with knows that you value the relationship. Now, how you can show this? After you meet them in person and you go back home, either that day or the next day, at a good time, not midnight or not when they're sleeping or having lunch, send them an email telling them how you are thankful or had the pleasure of meeting them, how you wish to either bring them value or ask them advice, or if you want to meet up for a coffee sometime. Make sure that they know that you value the relationship, and that's something that introverts can do because we listen to what they were telling us. And therefore, when we write that email, we can mention something like, oh, I hope your wife is good, or I hope that you're sick. I hope that your kid, he mentioned that his kid was sick, you can mention, I hope little Johnny's doing better now. These things, they establish relationship. If the person knows that he's being heard, and the day after you still recognize and you put out there that you remember specific points of the conversation, that is where you build relationships. Now, putting face-to-face networking on the side, let's go back to technology, social media. So there are a wide variety of social media platforms. There's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, all of that. You have to identify which of them you wish to get on. You should not get onto all, because not all of them will provide you the same value depending on what your niche or market is. If you're attracting younger people, then go for TikTok or Instagram. But if you're going for older people, go for LinkedIn or Facebook. That is a big advice that I can give for you. Make sure that people can find you, especially those of your target market. Make sure that you can be found. Make sure that the social media, it talks for you. Make sure that your best work is out there. So while you sleep, it is like your doppelganger online is talking on your behalf and giving out an advertising for you without you even having to mutter a single word. And that is really cool for us introverts. But one really important point to make, especially for you introverts, is that putting all your effort into social media alone can only take you so far. Because if you consider the vast number of social media platforms there are and the number of people that actually post on them, it is easy for your message and for your page to get drowned out because it's really saturated. So you have to either really specialize on one thing, like me, Sigma males, really specialize on one thing, and you have to also put yourself out there aside from social media. You have to recognize that networking is not passive. That's why it's called networking. It's not called net resting or net sleeping or net whatever. Networking. There is an amount of effort that it takes there. You have to really take action. You have to search for your target market. You have to really go through LinkedIn profiles and see who do you think would want your service or product, and reach out to them. Send them a DM. You have to think about it this way. Where is the place where you can position yourself, where there is a need for your product or services? And then broadcast there or send the message to that person. And you have to make sure that your message is short and sweet. It has to give them the features of your product and give them the benefits of your product or service. Now, features and benefits may sound like similar terms, but in fact they are not. Features just are outlines and a description of what you provide. What are your services? What is your product? What does it have? And then benefits is how these features that your product or service has will benefit the customer. So you have to, in your message, short and sweet, you have to give them a list of what your features and benefits are. In a world where people are constantly bombarded by all sorts of advertising, the short and sweet messages are the ones that count, the ones that grab your attention. If you make it too long, if you make it uninteresting, people will lose interest quick and they will just scroll down or hit delete, and your message will never even get read. Now, the advice that I'm giving you, this is not just theory or something that I read out of the book. This is practical experience that I'm giving you because I have an example from my life where I followed all these steps and I got to network as an introvert. When if you look at my very first videos, you'll notice that I was into videography, and one of the projects that I'm most proud of was doing the video production of the event Get in the Ring. I was a beginner videographer. I didn't even establish my name yet in the local area, and yet I was given a position to video that event. How did I do that? All I did was I went to Facebook, to the events, looked at the local area events that was happening in the next month, and lo and behold, I stumbled upon Get in the Ring. Get in the Ring was basically a place where startups and it's like an incubator of startups and beginning businesses. And so I reached out through DM. I contacted the person and I said, hey, I like your idea of the event and it aligns with who I am. I'm a startup videographer myself and I want to give you the services as a videographer. Would it be fine if I do that for you? And funny enough, they said yes. So I had the connections. So when I was in that event, I was taking videos of the event and I was also networking with the people at that event. So if those people wanted a videographer for their business, they already had me on the top of their mind. You guys have to recognize that there is an abundance in the world. For those of you who live in the city and either live on the top floor, if you live on the top floor, look outside of your window. If you don't live in the top floor, while you're going through the street, Observe your surroundings and look around at the buildings. Look around at how many windows there are in those buildings. Every single building has close to 50 or in the hundreds of people living in them. And if you can find out what those people need, and generally majority of people, they need and want the same things in life. If you understand what they need and have the product or service or know-how to give them that, to get them from point A, which is where they're miserable, to point B, where they want to be and aspire to be in their life, you can make millions. Just think about that. There is an abundance in this world and you have to just recognize it, just looking around. That's why when I look outside of my window and I see the number of buildings and number of windows, I'm constantly inspired. I don't lose hope and I don't doubt in myself. And this goes directly to you, Tim. Tim, you have a business as a career, let's say career advisor, as a CV or resume writer and an interview consultant. These are things that are really needed in this world because majority of the people live in the hierarchy, they live in the system and they will want to get jobs. Every single room, every single building, every single flat, every single apartment is home to a family and every family will have a kid. And this kid will grow to school, go to university, and after university what happens? He tries to find a job. And that point A, where he is graduated, to point B of having a job, a stable job that he wants, that space there can only be the bridge that gets from point A to point B is having a good CV, good resume, and good interview skills. Therefore, literally every single apartment is close to 50, hundreds of potential clients for you. It is all about the right timing because the kid will only have that need for a CV or for interview skills when he is looking for a job. So your number one goal is to occupy the top spot in the top of mind category. When people want to look for career advice or interview advice or a resume writer, they first think, Tim, that's the guy I must go to. He's the specialist there. They will completely forget about your competition. So a practical piece of advice is to look for places where there is a high demand for your services and also a recurring demand for your services. What do I mean by this? You know, it gets tiring for an introvert to keep spitting out or to keep talking and talking and talking, marketing himself, advertising himself. What you want to do ideally is to position yourself in places or to market yourself in places where all you have to do is market once, do your best, and then you don't have to market yourself anymore. That location or place like universities, schools, especially universities. Once you market yourself there and you become the go-to person or go-to service in that university for writing resumes, you just get businesses constantly. When the students ask for, oh, I need help with resume, they will recommend you. If they ask for interview advice, they will recommend you. You don't have to constantly email these students anymore. By partnering with these universities and schools, you don't have to do the talking anymore. The school and university will talk for you, will market the services for you. And all you have to do is do what you do best, which is your work. So Tim, this video goes out to you, and for all of you introverts out there, I hope this video helps you network better and help you get yourself out there, because being a lone wolf only gets you so far. You do have to put yourself out there. If this message resonated with you, do leave a like and comment your thoughts down below. I really want to know what you guys think about this. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. This is where I help you get from point A to point B, not only as a lone wolf or tiger, but we are looking to become kaijus, the true Sigma male spirit animal. And with that, thank you very much for joining me, brothers. This is Kaiju Kong signing off. Take care.